We are back for part 6. We are Sports Moods. 2 Moodies.
1 duty.
Sports. Let's go.
About a lot so far. We done hit on the McGregor Mayweather fight, our thoughts on that. We dived into some old WWE action and talked about the Kyrie trade and some of the other things that took place this offseason in the NBA. So won't be a sports show without talking about the NFL.
Woo!
So I am really excited that it is football season. That stretch from after the NBA finals to August when preseason starts, it's like the roughest stretch of sports. It's really nothing to watch. I mean, I'm not a big baseball person. I will watch it, but it's just like I'm just in withdrawals at that point.
This is why I watch wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling does fill the gap when they're doing stuff that actually makes sense. But I get more frustrated when they don't. But I just feel like Vince McMahon needs to go. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
But we're going to dive into the NFL, some current events right now that's going on. The big one right now is the whole Ezekiel Elliott 6-game suspension, which I know he is in the process of appealing that right now. And I just want to, figure out what you feel about that, C. Moody.
I'll be honest with you. As far as what he is claimed to have done, I don't know. Maybe he did do it. If he really did it, he deserves to be suspended. But what did we do to all the other people who had stuff? I feel like sometimes we overdo suspensions on some people, but then give lighter sentences on other people. So I really think that they really need to find some basis to be like, this is the rule. I don't care if you're Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, or a new guy. If you do this is your punishment. So, I feel like sometimes they just kind of make up punishments based on the person. Mm-hmm. But I do agree, if he did it, he needs to have the punishment. Now, if he didn't do it, don't drain this. Like I said, this has already been over a year of what's going on. Mm-hmm. I feel like it shouldn't take this long for investigations, but I don't know that department, so I don't know how long stuff like that takes. But it sucks for the Cowboys if he does have to have this suspension, because they were really becoming a great team. As much as I hate to say it, but the Cowboys was really becoming a great team, and I still feel like when he comes back, if he has to take the 6-game suspension, they're still going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they will. Yeah. I think they'll still get to the playoffs. I think Dak Prescott is really got a strong upside now that they have this whole Tony Romo thing behind him. Now we know he's the guy that's going to lead this team into the future. But my whole thing with the suspension, he was never convicted of it. They hadn't found him. He's convicted of it, but he wasn't found guilty.
Okay.
So it's still up in the air. Like you said, investigation is still trying to further investigate if it really happened. But I think 6 games is really steep. Yeah. But I think right now it's more of Roger Goodell more than anything. I think he's like the villain type commissioner. But you have to look at it. When they redid that collective bargaining agreement a couple years back, the owners gave him this power to do that. Mm. So regardless of whether he was found guilty in court or not, even if he's suspected of doing that, Goodell can come up with his own type of punishment for that player. Now, is his punishment always fair? I don't know. But, I look at the whole thing with Tom Brady last year, what he went through with Deflategate. We look at what he did to the Saints with the Bountygate.
Okay. Yeah.
We look at the whole, especially now, it made me think about the whole Ray Rice thing that was going on. It made me think about the whole Bounty Gate thing. Not Bounty Gate, I'm sorry. It made me think about the whole Ray Rice thing. Remember before the video came out, like when we first heard knowledge of that he hit his wife or whatever.
Yeah.
Without seeing the video, okay, Roger Goodell says, oh, it's a 2-game suspension. Okay, so it makes the NFL look like, hey, how are we against criminal domestic violence? It makes us look like they don't take a strong enough stand against that. Oh, that's just 2 games, so he's beating on his wife, so that's okay. You just give him a slap on the wrist with 2 games.
Right.
But then when the video pops out, it's like, oh, it's much worse than what we thought it was.
Yeah.
So Ray Rice, you out indefinitely. You're done. Like, and he hasn't recovered since that. Yeah. So I do want the NFL to take a strong stand against criminal domestic violence because you got to support your women fan base.
Definitely.
Because you do have women out there that are diehard football fans. And they look at it as, okay, so it's okay for your players to beat on women and then you just turn the other cheek. But my thing is, like, when the whole thing came out with Ray Rice, in the beginning it was like a 2-game suspension. Then you look at Tom Brady being in trouble for flattening footballs. Which one is more important? What would you rather deal with? Someone flattening footballs or someone beating on a woman?
That's true. I'm not even going to hold your bias of your fan.
I'm trying not to let it come out.
I know.
We're gonna get into that later,
right.
But that's what it made me feel like. I'm like, okay, so maybe Goodell this time around is trying to have more of a firm hand on this and say this will not be tolerated.
Yeah.
So even if you're guilty or not. Because it does make the league look bad.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's got a job to uphold, the league.
Yeah, and going back to what you said, like difference between the 2-game suspension for Ray Rice and the 4-game suspension with Brady, I feel like that was a subliminal shot at showing how the NFL only cares about money. Because, showing that Tom Brady or, allegedly being deflating balls would be tampering with games and tampering with whatever kind of bets or whatever else the NFL is associated with, but Ray Rice domestically and his woman doesn't really affect NFL either way except for a fan base look at. So that showed that how they made Tom Brady steeper, until they showed the actual footage that well, this is hurting our money worse than this, and so that put a bad lighting on the NFL and the commissioner, which now is making him put more of a stance on it, which they're giving him, like, I got to show y'all that I really do care about, this stuff, and it really is about the people and not just about our money. So I feel like that's why he's pushing this.
He's a big deal. I mean,
definitely.
Rookie. Did he win Rookie of the Year?
I think so.
I think he did win the Rookie of the Year. Maybe I think it was either him or Dak. I'm not sure.
It was Ezekiel.
It was Ezekiel. Okay,
it was.
Both of them are worthy of winning it, but I know one of them did. But Zeke, I mean, he's a big deal right now. I mean, especially that's gonna hurt a lot of people with this fantasy football stuff. Figuring out how they're gonna draft their players and stuff. But just for the Cowboys in general, it's kind of like you said, they were a team on the rise. I think with Zeke, they're a lock to get at least to the NFC Championship game. I still think Green Bay is kind of going to be a force to be reckoned with on that side of things, and I don't know how the Falcons are going to rebound from that Super Bowl hangover if they do. But I mean, I still think if it stands at 6 games, I think if it gets lessened it'll be 4. He'll still miss some time. Because, like I said, you got to have that firm stance against that. But I just feel that, the NFL does need to be more aware of only outside issues that's going on as well. So, like, if that's what's happening, even though it's not affecting, it's still going to affect the play on the field because the player won't be there to be there for his team. But like you were saying with the thing about Tom Brady, we know he's kind of like the face of the league, and then the NFL is going to lose revenue and money by him not being on the field. You look at the tickets, the fans already pre-purchased season ticket holders because of they like this one player.
Yeah.
And then you look at like how that's going to affect your brand when stuff like that happens. But I think that, I mean, it is a tough spot to be in if you're Dallas, but you just got to find a way to work through it and, make the best of it. It's not like Dallas has never been through this before with all the countless Romo injuries or Dez Bryant getting hurt or whatever happens. They still always almost finds a way. Like Stephen A. Smith says, an accident waiting to happen. So I just really feel that's just they have not won a Super Bowl since 95, 96.
Man.
I mean, a lot of things happened since 95, 96.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Facebook wasn't even invented then.
Exactly.
So, I mean, Facebook has been out longer than since Dallas won their last Super Bowl. So
wow, that hurts.
It does.
I'm sorry, Cowboys fans.
I know. I'm just saying to all you Dallas fans, I'm sorry.
It's the truth, man. It's the truth.
Dallas hate. I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys.
I love to watch you guys lose.
Yo, another thing going on big is Matthew Stafford is now the highest paid QB with this 5-year, $27 million, which, as much as people get paid, it's funny. It doesn't sound as much, but I think I'm still like listening to NBA contracts. Oh. So I mean, we can. Oh my gosh, those are extreme. But yeah, he's the highest paid quarterback now for the Lions, and considering the fact that they haven't made the playoff yet.
They've been a couple times, but he's never won a playoff game.
That's what it is. They haven't won a playoff game.
A couple years ago, I want to say, they played. Did they play? I think they played. I want to say they played Dallas and they lost, maybe.
Yeah. And
then they played. Last year they went with Seattle. Seattle beat them. But I mean, this guy. I mean, Matthew Stafford. Like a lot of his success as a quarterback, the passing yards and the touchdowns came from Calvin Johnson. So now that he's gone, you're actually telling me that you feel that he's that great of a caliber quarterback who hasn't even been to an NFC Championship game?
I mean,
at least one time in your career to get that type of money, are you willing to invest that much in him thinking that he is going to be the person to take you to the promised land? It's not happening in Detroit. I'm sorry.
I mean, from the Lions' perspective, I mean, like you say, didn't Calvin just recently retire? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Matthew Stafford's is pretty much the last big thing they have. So
it is. And I mean, who else you have out there on the market quarterback-wise? So I guess I understand making this guy your guy, but it doesn't mean you have to give him that much money. That money could be invested in trying to bring more talent.
That's true.
To make your team better.
I mean, that part is true, too. But I feel like maybe, we don't know if Stafford was maybe considering leaving, considering going somewhere else. So maybe the Lions felt like, let's satisfy him now before he has other ideas. So, I mean, for the Lions, I feel like, hey, great call. Even though you like you said, they still are lacking in a whole lot of other positions. So, but I mean, if that's what they feel like, I do like Matthew Stafford. I do feel like he's a good quarterback. Now, him not having Calvin Johnson, somebody who was like almost automatic for catching, we're going to definitely see.
But look, what he had Calvin Johnson, arguably the best receiver in his at that time. And what did you do with him? I understand it's more than just offense in the NFL.
Right.
I mean, NFL is more of an offensive league with the way the rules are made and everything to favor the offense. So you're going to see a lot more points and yards per game and stuff. But it's like you have Megatron. Yeah. What would Aaron Rodgers do with Megatron?
Oh my
what would
goodness.
Tom Brady do with Megatron? Like what would Peyton Manning would have done with Megatron?
But like you said, you have a lot more factors. Like, of course, Tom Brady would have.
I think Joe Flacco would be good at Megatron. He's not that great a quarterback.
I mean, but he has the deep ball. Now, he has a strong arm.
He does.
And like you say, Calvin to come catch it.
But I'm just saying, I mean, anybody with Calvin Johnson, you're going to put up numbers.
Right.
Unless you just suck at being a quarterback. Yeah, but I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Stafford. He's probably top 10 quarterback right now. Yeah. But I just don't feel like investing into that, making him the highest paid. I mean, because at the end of the year, I mean, they're not going to be there. Yeah. They're not going to.
So do you feel like they would retract if this season minus Calvin Johnson would show the real?
Now, if he comes out and has he's going to have a record breaking out of this world type season, and he's good for maybe 30 plus touchdowns, maybe 12, 13 picks, but I don't see it.
Hey guys, man, we're out of time again. We're going to finish this up, and next we're going to be talking about our favorite teams, what's been going on with them, and our Super Bowl predictions. This is Sports Moods, 2 Moodies,
1 Duty.
Sports.